Hello friends and my lovely viewers. Welcome back to the channel of Neon Safe. Today we will talk about our Duskmourn Count Guardian. Let's get started.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. I'm tired of shit.
This Guardian of ours has a unique appearance since the female Elena part is merged with our male Alden part. And both of them contribute in battle, as if they are one person. From briefly checking out Duskmourn's skills, I can tell our Guardian is capable of executing enemies when certain criteria are met, and he can also buff and debuff the opponent. But we have to take a closer look, to properly understand how our Guardian functions and if he is worth it or not. In our active skill, Alden blocks damage, becomes immune to control and damage, and he restores constitution equal to 740% of his strength. All of this will last for 2 seconds. If our current constitution reaches its limit, then our extra leftovers will be converted into an equivalent shield. This shield will last for 6 seconds. Alden will also deal damage equal to 1050% of his strength to the enemies in its path forward, and apply a 2-second fear effect which ignores the enemy's control immunity. This skill sounds decent in my opinion. We become immune for a little bit while we restore some constitution. The leftover becomes a shield, and we also deal some damage to possibly multiple enemies. Our amount of strength will be important, as it decides how much constitution we will recover and how much damage we will deal. So that is one thing we should keep in mind. Let's see his passive skill next. If his constitution is below 50%, we will gain the power of light. This means our Guardian's damage taken will be reduced by 40%, and he will also gain a lifesteal equal to 40%. If his constitution is above 50%, then we will gain the power of dark. With the power of dark, our Guardian will have a damage buff of 32% and a strength buff of 32%. Additionally, when we use his Guardian skill, both dark and light powers will activate, and the buffs will be shared with the remaining allies of the battlefield. The effects are shared to our allies for only 8 seconds, and our light and dark buffs cannot be dispelled. I honestly think our passive skill sounds very cool. We gain protection and self-recovery when our constitution is low, and we gain buffs to deal more damage when constitution is high. And on top of everything, we will activate and share both effects with allies when we use our Guardian skill. It may be a great idea trying to keep his constitution above 50% so that we can deal more damage to the opponent. We are lucky to have an extra line of safety below 50% HP, but our main priority should be to kick the opponent's ass. So I personally would like having a high constitution or high damage reduction on this Guardian, to ensure we always have a damage buff and strength buff activated. But that is just my own thoughts on the matter. Moving on to our ultimate skill now. For each champion unit that dies, our Guardian will gain 5.5% increase in strength. This functions as a passive and is always active even when we do not use the ultimate skill. When we do launch our ultimate, he will create 3 rifts ahead. Then a powerful energy will burst through these rifts and deal a total of 1000% strength damage to enemies in the area. This attack additionally prevents the affected foes from regenerating their constitution for 4 seconds. The effect cannot be dispelled. Basically, our Guardian becomes stronger in terms of damage output whenever champions die in battle. And we will deal AoE damage while debuffing the struck foes, by making them unable to regenerate constitution for some time. Our ultimate skill doesn't sound super impressive, to be honest. I was expecting something more impactful, especially since this is a Guardian and not a champion. Anyways, let us check out our final Guardian skill and hope for the best. Elena, aka the female part of Duskmourn, will aim for 2 random enemies amongst the most crowded enemy area. She launches a double attack equal to 800% strength damage each, and she stuns the targets for 2 seconds. Elena then strikes the target area with 1200% strength true AoE damage, and the affected enemies will have their current constitution limit reduced by 8%. Additionally, Elena enters a 8-second lasting Dominion state by the very beginning of activating this Guardian skill. This Dominion state will allow our Guardian to execute enemies whose current constitution is less than 1300% of her strength, and whose constitution is below 80%. During battle, Elena gains 400 resolve points for each instance of damage dealt. She will gain 600 resolve points instead if we only got 1 enemy left on the battlefield. Our Guardian skill cannot be interrupted under any circumstances, and resolve points cannot be gained for 9 seconds after activating this skill. Our Guardian skill sounds pretty interesting in my opinion. We will basically deal lots of single target and AoE based damage, while we slightly debuff the enemy with stun effects and constitution reduction. By boosting up our Guardian strength, we may also be able to execute certain enemy champions, if the enemy's constitution drops to below 80%. So we will need more strength for our Guardian to deal more damage, and to ensure we can enable the execution effect. I think our Guardian skill is mainly good because of the execution effect, so our amount of strength will be very important for Duskmourn to actually function in battle. Our Guardian as a whole may not reach up entirely to our expectations in PvP, but I feel like he may perform well in boss fights. It will depend on how we build our Duskmourn champion and what team composition we have, so do keep that in mind. I believe our Guardian may be particularly great in either the front or mid row, but we should always try to swap our team around to see for ourselves if he is compatible in those positions, as it may vary. Overall, he doesn't come off as super impressive or super overly powerful, to be honest. I feel a little bit disappointed in a way, but our Guardian may be a high maintenance type who just needs a lot of leveling up, and very specific traits to rule on the battlefield. Let us move on to discuss his traits next, starting with his 2 clan traits. Our first clan trait is called Fury Flame. At level 22 we will increase his strength permanently by 7.5% when our Guardian takes damage. This effect can trigger at most once every 2 seconds, up to 5 times. Fury Flame is in my opinion a very good clan trait for strength-reliant DPS champs. And our Duskmourn's active, ultimate and Guardian skills are heavily involved with his amount of strength, which may make this trait quite relevant. Our Guardian needs to receive damage from the enemy to acquire the strength buffs, so it is important we do not shield him from the enemy too much. That doesn't mean we should allow him to die quickly in battle, but we need him to receive at least 5 blows from the enemy to max out the benefit from this clan trait. Let us check out our second clan trait. Light of Grace will at level 22 reduce the attacker's critical damage by 20% for 4 seconds. This effect can stack up to 3 times, and it activates whenever our Guardian takes damage. So once again, we must ensure our Duskmourn takes damage from the opponent, to place a debuff on the enemy. I feel like this is a clan trait we would prefer having on a tank role type of champ or Guardian, so I don't feel like it fits our Duskmourn too well. It would have been more suitable having another strength boosting, or a critical damage boosting trait on our Guardian. But I am not saying this clan trait is useless or bad in any way, I just personally believe we may have more compatible options out there. Moving on to the 3 free slots we have left. We may want to prioritize the trait called Brutal for the first slot. A level 22 Brutal trait will give our Guardian a 45% increase in strength. This is very important since our Guardian heavily relies on strength to be useful. Almost all our skills need strength to function, so this trait is pretty much a must-have. For our second slot, I suggest we place the trait called Aggressive. At level 22, Aggressive makes our strength increase by 2% for each attack made, and it goes up to 20%. As long as our Duskmourn attacks frequently, this trait may be a very good fit. We need plenty of strength like mentioned, so it is great having an extra strength boosting trait alongside our Brutal trait. In the third slot, we may want the trait called Honorable. A level 22 Honorable trait will increase our champion's total damage reduction by 25%. This is another great way to keep our Guardian alive for longer. Keep in mind these are just my very own suggestions, so if you disagree or if you want to try other trait combos, that is completely alright. Also, whether we decide to acquire this Guardian or not, is completely up to each and one of us. Our Duskmourn mostly acts like an executioner with buffing and debuffing effects, and I personally believe he may belong to the lower tiers of our Guardians. But we may still want this Guardian for either our second team or third team, depending on which champions and Guardians we have from before. I don't want to say that he is not worth it, he may just not be our very first pick when obtaining Guardians, that's all. Anyways, I believe we have covered the topic for today. If you have any questions or thoughts you would like to share with us, feel free to comment below. To partake in our giveaways, subscribe to the channel. You may also leave a like or share the video with your friends, if you want to. We highly appreciate your support and contribution. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and have an amazing day. Take care, stay foxy, adios, bye.